Hi, I'm Ian Schlakman, and I'm here today with PC Media Group to talk a little bit about how you can protect yourself with a VPN. A little bit about myself. My day job is in a worker collective where we do technology services for schools, nonprofits, that kind of thing. I myself am a cybersecurity professional with the CISSP, and I'm here to help some fine folks figure out how they can get to protect themselves with the virtual private connection. So as you can see, Fight for the Future has done us a huge service, and they've written down some VPNs. They've actually made this really great site available called getavpn.org. They have some great paid-for options, but they also have a couple other options as well. And one of them is a free Hotspot Shield VPN, which is a fantastic VPN. It's actually pretty quick. It just shows you some ads. Now, what a VPN should do is it should take the information on your computer, put it into a pipe, stream it across where the VPN comes out across the country or over the world, and make sure that your data is consolidated with a bunch of other people's data so the government can't spy on you individually and know exactly what you're looking at. So it's a great way to anonymize yourself on the internet. Here is Hotspot Shield's free VPN. As you can see, we see that we have both a Mac and a PC here. So this free download will get you started.
And again, this is Hotspot Shield VPN. This is Rob from DC Media Group, and what Ian is doing is showing how easy and fast this is.
I may have done it already. So the Mac side is fairly simple.
And what just happened there?
I think it installed already on the Mac side. It's so quick it took me by surprise. Let me go find it. On the Mac side, when you click to download it, it'll actually take you to the App Store. And from the App Store, it'll show you where the hotspot is, and that's where you download it. It installs right into your Applications folder on the Mac. You run it. It does ask for an account. You can skip. If you hit sign in, you can skip the account, the section where you make the account. It's not necessary to make an account, but this company is supported by advertisements, so it would help them out. Let's go ahead and turn on the connection by just hitting the on button here. We can test the connection. And so as you can see, it thinks we are in Torrance, California. In reality, we are it's right here in Maryland. It's
3 miles away from the NSA.
3 miles away from the NSA, which is fantastic. And the speed is actually pretty quick. I was really impressed. So it's not difficult at all to install on the Mac side. Essentially, you are going to the App Store and installing it, and then making sure your profile's installed. And once your profile's installed, you get this little box up here. Oh, and you can actually change the location. On the PC side, I'll walk you through it step by step. Here's us verifying that we want it installed. Actually, it's auto. Let's go ahead and hit install. It goes through this simple installer. It's one of the easiest VPNs I've ever seen installed on a PC. You're actually on a cell phone connection for this Mac, and you can see it came out to almost 13 down and 4 up, which is very good for a cell phone connection. So I'll show you. If you want to disconnect from it on the Mac side, you just go up top here and hit disconnect. You could also pause it. I'll pause it for a minute. And actually in the hotspot shield, it'll tell you how long do you want to pause it for. I'll hit 1 hour. And now we're disconnected. And now if I reround the speed test, it clearly knows we're on an AT&T wireless hotspot, and it knows that we're in Maryland. So on the Mac side here, I recommend that you do all the recommended settings, especially if you're not a novice when it comes to computers. They'll make a desktop shortcut for you. Now this hotspot shield comes right up, and all you have to do is hit connect. Just did it once. You can choose how you want to use it. You could just use it some of the time. This comes up, hit no to that. That's asking you if you want to explore the network, find other people on the network. You don't want to do that. Let's say always turn on. And then it's pretty much the same deal here. You don't have to sign in. It will prompt you to sign in. It wants you to sign in. Again, it's a free service, so it would be nice of you to sign up, but you don't have to. I'm going to go to, if you hit test protection, it will take you to its own testing site, but I'll go to standard testing site that I'm sure a lot of people use. I'll test their speed. I did exit out, but it's still here on the bottom. It's this little sheet. This one thinks we're in Great Britain, so even better. And I believe that is an option that you can change in the settings. Not sure why I routed through London this time, but I'm not complaining. It's even better, right? And that's very fast, again, for a cellular connection. 10 down and 8 up, that's fantastic. And it has no idea that we're actually 3 miles away from the NSA. So that's an easy introduction to Hotspot Shield. That's one of the Fight the Future's recommended VPNs. Fight the Future has done us a fantastic favor by pooling all these VPNs together, making them very affordable. There are ones here that won't take up so much desktop real estate and show ads. They cost $333 a month, and from what I hear, they're very good. I haven't tried them personally. But Reset the Net actually has simpler plans for Reset the Net Day. So they have a whole website section here. Ask your webmaster to install some fantastic looking graphics on their website that'll distinctly mention why it's important to take our net back and make sure that it's encrypted. Yeah, here it is. I love this. This is fantastic. Look, you got the NSA camera spying on you, and then it shows you, talks about how the U.S. Congress will protect our rights, which is why I'm running for office, particularly to get Judge Ruppersberger out of office as the head of the Intelligence Committee. He's clearly failed at his job. Starting today, June 5th, taking steps to directly block government surveillance on the internet, and it takes you right back to the Reset the Net group. And I think it's just a great reminder that you are being spied on. Unless you do something like this VPN software that we showed you, you are definitely being watched, surveilled. Your information is being absorbed into the giant data centers, and who knows what they're actually getting from you. So many different reports, just metadata, no it's everything, no it's metadata. This pack.resetthenet is actually a little more illustrated than the other site, in the main site. So it tells you flat out.
Tor? What can you tell us about Tor?
Tor
Project
is a fantastic service that works similarly to a VPN, but it's not exactly a VPN. It's like a VPN that has multiple entryways and multiple paths out, and it's not supposed to be centrally controlled. I like to think of it as something that sophisticated users can try to figure out and work with to make sure that when they turn on Tor, what they're doing at that moment will be surveilled. It's very difficult for an agency to track you through Tor. but because it was so difficult for to track you to Tor, Tor in particular has been spied upon and compromised some bit. Now, thanks to Tor's open nature, when it's spied upon and they realize it, the people that program it, they're able to reroute the traffic and take those corrupted networks offline. But it's tough to say because it's so anonymous who's controlling it. The VPNs are probably the easier version of Tor, if you want to think of it like that. But if you want to get more sophisticated, you want to learn more about encrypting not just yourself, but people around the world, Tor is the way to do it. Because Tor actually creates a giant anonymous cloud, maybe, over the internet, as you can think of it, where people are coming in and out from all over the internet. So not just people in America that are afraid of the NSA, but people that are like being shut down in other parts of the world, like Turkey, for example. Them using Tor is a big deal, is a huge deal.
Maybe Merkel from Germany should be using Tor?
Yeah, I think you can put it on your iPhone now. I know they're tapping right into her personal phone, so why not? Reset the Net also mentioned some fantastic chat programs. More ways to protect you. So ADM's a great program. I know they mentioned one other one. Pigeon. Pigeon was another one that they mentioned. That's the Windows one. Oh, yeah. Thanks. There it is. Yeah, Pigeon's a good one. I mean, they're fantastic programs. They're very easy to install. They would install like normal programs. You just hit download, run the executable. Once it's on your computer, just double click what downloads, and then you're up and running pretty much at that point. You would put your Google, Facebook chat information directly into Pigeon. And the idea is that Pigeon would make sure it's encrypted both ways. So that's one less way when they're doing bulk collection for them to spy on you. It should be stated, and I believe that Reset the Net states it on their site, that if someone wants to find you or record what you're doing, there are lots of ways to go about doing that. So none of these ways are foolproof. This is more a overlying system that we're kind of doing on the grassroots level because we have no other way to create an umbrella against their spying right now. So think of this like an umbrella against or like a tent maybe would be a better way to do it. Think of it. You know, if someone wants to infiltrate you, they're going to get in there. But overall, this would protect you from being spied upon on your daily activities, which is really what this is all about. They have Linux versions of everything. I really would recommend looking up Linux Mint or Ubuntu Linux. They're very easy to install on a PC, and they're much more secure than what you're using if you're using Windows. And I'm sure there's tons of videos out there that would explain why that is. So anyway, I'll just cut this short by just saying that there's a lot of great tools on this pack.resetthenet.org website that explain exactly how and why you should use these tools. AdBlock Plus, I use this personally. HTTPS Everywhere is fantastic. It's very, very easy to use. So a lot of these tools, what they're doing is they're making sure that you're using the most encrypted, up-to-date method available of browsing the internet and doing your daily communications.
Now, a question.
Sure.
Updates. Will they prompt updates? And how should you handle updates with the VPN or...
The software itself that you install should prompt updates. In general, for secure computing, you should always update your computer as often as possible. I try to do it once a week. You should click on the Windows Update tool or the Apple Update area yourself manually once a week, just to make sure you're getting the absolute latest updates. That's not going to protect you from what the NSA is doing, but it will protect you from hackers, and it will also protect, from hackers, from script kiddies, we call them, low-level hackers. It'll also protect you from. It'll also make sure you're able to take advantage of these latest tools. Because if you don't have your basic Windows or Mac updated, a lot of these tools like HTTPS may not work properly. So it's always a good idea to run the updates. Don't be afraid to run the updates just because. This is a big issue, actually, because now that we know that the NSA is working with Microsoft and has tried to infiltrate Linux, and they're definitely doing something with Mac, probably, a lot of people are afraid to run updates now. They think, oh, let me just use a really old version of Windows or something like that. That is definitely not going to fix the problem. You are definitely not going to be as secure in that scenario. You should still run the updates as often as possible. Think of the NSA issue as a separate issue. And as someone who works in information security, it's infuriating when people come to me and say, oh, well, I'm going to try to use the oldest version of the operating system I can come up with, like Windows 95, to avoid the NSA. That is not going to work. It's an interesting theory, but it just doesn't work. You should update as much as possible. If you're really serious about making sure that your operating system isn't compromised by the NSA, download Linux. Get an old PC. Anything from a new PC to an old PC will work just fine with Linux. Ubuntu Linux will probably run on almost anything. Linux Mint looks very, very similar to Windows. So, I mean, I've always wanted to install Linux Mint for someone and just tell them it was Windows. They was a little afraid to try it and just kind of surprised it's actually Windows a couple months later. But so I'm sure that someone out there has done that. It looks very similar. As you do it on your computer. HTTPS Everywhere, you can download it right from their site. It's actually a good example of like the general reasoning and kind of like purpose of Reset the Net and what it's trying to do. So what we're doing here is we're actually enabling HTTPS whenever we possibly can. So this little S next to the HTTP means that it's secure. That's really the simplest way to put it. I'm sure there are people out there saying, oh gosh, you should explain exactly how it works. This is a very cursory overview, so I'll just say it means secure. That means that when you are talking to a website, certain parts, not everything, but certain parts of your communication with the website will be secure, which means that if the NSA really wants to spy on you, they then need to unencrypt the connection. They can't just look at it flat out, like as if you're sending plain text across the internet.
Right, and if it's just HTTP, then you're open.
They can probably track it, yeah. Unless you're using a VPN or Tor or something like that, there's a very good chance they are tracking it. Right. Kind of similar to phone records. Just think of it like phone records, but just a lot more information. And we know they're already getting the phone records. AdBlock Plus does two things. AdBlock Plus does two things. The first thing that it does is it actually blocks ads. So,
which is nice.
Yeah, the reason it's so nice is because the ads take up a lot of space and a lot of bandwidth when you're downloading them. A lot of ads now have become extremely obtrusive, and they actually just start showing you a video, sometimes with audio. And that's just horribly annoying. And it's like literally streaming a video every time you go to a certain site on this one website, maybe. So to avoid that, I strongly recommend AdBlock Plus. I think it's a fantastic addition. The other thing that it does is it keeps a database of places that are known to serve ads, and I think it may also do that with malware as well. So if there's questionable sites that are trying to pop up ads onto your computer, maybe even go beyond the browser and pop up ads onto your operating system, AdBlock Plus will block that. And there's a lot of tools that will actually block that. AdBlock Plus is just one of them. So I highly recommend it. It works for almost every browser. As you can see, we're in Opera here, and it works for that. Yeah, I use it. Yeah, I really recommend it. HTTPS Everywhere is I'm trying to get it for Firefox here. Oh yeah, I forgot. EFF is now serving up HTTPS Everywhere itself. So you can install it right from EFF's website. EFF, another fantastic organization, been on the front lines of fighting this kind of stuff. Sure. And just hit allow once you go to the EFS website. That's it. and then it's installed.
Okay. I wanted to thank Ian for doing this video to help people secure their internet and participate in Reset the Net.
Yeah. So in my spare time, I also run for Congress against the notorious Dutch Ruppersberger, who is head of the House Intelligence Committee. So I think people that understand the internet should be the ones writing the laws about the internet, not the other way around.
And where are you?
District 2, here in beautiful Maryland. Yeah. And we're actually very close to the NSA, because in the district. So one of the reasons I decided to take a step back from being a technology professional and start working on more political projects, because I was extremely tired of seeing politicians acting like they knew what they were talking about when it came to cybersecurity issues, anything technology related. I don't know if you remember the congressman saying the internet is a bunch of tubes. So I looked around in my area right here in Maryland and decided that one of the best uses of my time would be running against Dutch Ruppersberger for Congress. Dutch is the head of the House Intelligence Committee, and he's done a horrible job of overseeing the abuses that the NSA has been carrying on. He was in power when these abuses came to light under Snowden, and he's spent most of his time defending the NSA and calling Snowden a punk. Up until recently, when he finally came out with the most watered down NSA reform bill to date. So that's why I decided to get into more of the political side in terms of how to fight back. And I'm a technician by trade, as you could probably tell. It's one of my first times doing public speaking and interviews and all these other kinds of stuff. But it's a challenge that I think that more people that are technical need to take. We need people that know what they're talking about to be in Congress. We don't need people that are blowhard politicians. And there are some good ones, but 90% of them are pretty bad. And I think we all know that. Congress's approval ratings have never been lower. In fact, Dutch Ruppersberger recently just joined a chorus of Republicans around the release of the soldier issue. I mean, we can't afford to have any more moderate. In my opinion, we can't afford to have any more moderate Democrats. We really need to take a stand and say, if you're not going to fight for the future, not to use the term there, if you're not going to fight for the next generation and what they're going to need in terms of internet, food, shelter, clothing, jobs, I mean, most of the people that I know, unless they're in the IT field, they don't have work. They don't have meaningful work. I know someone that's got a master's degree who's working at a candy store. I mean, these are rough times out there. And Congress acts like, oh, we got to just do our best to go to the middle. We don't need the middle. We need people up on Capitol Hill fighting tooth and nail for workers, for young people, for free college tuition, for making sure everyone has enough money to eat, making sure everyone has enough money to pay their landlord, because God knows my generation's not buying houses. So it's a shame, and we really need people to stand up and take a stand. So that's why I joined with the Green Party, and we're fighting to get Dutch out of office.
Okay.
And our website is ian42.com, and if you could check it out, join us. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks.
Okay.